What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Full Press Hockey Weekly show with myself, Jim Berenger, the host and voice of Full Press Hockey, rocking and rolling. NWO is always here. It's always for life. Chris Wassel, Ian Glennon behind the scenes. Get it at Full Press NHL on Twitter, Full Press coverage on YouTube, Full Press coverage on Facebook, Full Press Hockey on Facebook, and FullPressHockey.com, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Hockey is back. We are back. It's time to rock and roll, Chris.
It's good to be back. It's even nicer to have like just a ridiculous amount of TV viewing options. Just saying.
Just saying.
Don't have to go. Don't even have to now. Don't even have to go through Comcast anymore.
No.
Center ice is basically obsolete. So for those that don't know, obviously, and you have the TNT TBS conundrum,
right?
Just slide your way on over to Max. Get the Max streaming while you can get it.
Yep.
And enjoy the Bleacher Report streaming, which has exclusive sports content from, you guessed it, TNT and TBS.
What?
So you have even more ways to get around the inevitable problem of dealing with your evil cable company that charges you $200
whatever dollars it is.
Yeah, I mean,
for channels you don't use.
Yeah. There's a lot of them. Trust me.
Trust me. There's only, if I could pick and choose what I wanted, that I'd still have cable. But we digress. Yep. We get on to the season. We're here. It's only a couple games in. We can't throw. It's like throwing darts on a wall. Like, look, you want to overreact.
We can't use the Mike Straw throw Seattle under the bus because they can't score more than one goal.
I mean, we can if we want to. I mean, look, Seattle they're scoring more than one goal, but as I noted last night in the game, if you're gonna bet the game going forward, take Seattle to score the first goal because they've done it in 8 straight games against the Avalanche going back to the playoffs. So there's that. And if the Oilers are ever playing the Preds, well, take the Oilers.
Yeah,
they've won 10 of the last 12, 11 of the last 12, 10 of the last 12 games. So there's that. Look, you can go through, okay, this team is what it is. This team is this team. Look, it's good to have hockey back. We're dissecting everything. There's the overreactions. There's the way too early power rankings. By the way, I'll bring them back a couple weeks, but it's too early to do it after 3
Too early.
games. Not enough of a sample size. I like to get like 10 games in. Then it really gives me a picture of these teams. But I will say this. We said this on the last couple of shows that we've done. Vegas, to me, is still the team to beat. And until proven otherwise, I'm sticking with them.
Yeah, one of the better games of the very young season took place last night. So you get in your little slight Wayback Machine and watch Vegas and Dallas play last night. You saw what a healthy Jake Oettinger can do, as opposed to what we saw in last year. Later and later in last year's playoffs. That game should not have been 3-2. That game should not have gone into overtime.
No.
Ever. And you have to give Oettinger a ton of credit for keeping Dallas in that game. Because, look, Vegas, man, I explained this. And mind you, Vegas doesn't have 3 of their top 6 defensemen. And you can make a case that it's really 3 of their top 4 defensemen to boot.
Yeah. Yes, you can. You can make that case.
And it doesn't make a difference. At all.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't make a difference. They're still really good. They have a good coach, Bruce Cassidy. Aiden Hill is showing, again, it's still early in the season, but he's showing he can make the timely save. And not a fluke. We don't know what that game would have been like if Martinez is playing, Petrangelo's playing, White Cloud's playing. Like, we don't know because it could have been a steamroll for all we know. But Vegas is still a great team, and that's why I see when so many people discount them or put them 6, it's like really? Like, who's better? Because Edmonton's got goalie problems.
Yeah.
And 97 and 29 can't do everything. Okay? They can't do everything. Okay? look, the power play is good, but Darnell Nurse is a weakness on the back end. And I know he's an easy target because you can pick on him because of the contract and what he makes. But let's be honest, he's always out of position. Like always out of position. And if I had a telestrator, I'd do it. Because there are goals in the first 2 games where he was completely out of position.
Yeah, just get your little etch a sketch out, draw a little stick figure, Darnell Nurse in the wrong position, and there you go. I mean, look, obviously he's not the only one that's been guilty of this in the early going, but let's face it, the money makes you a magnet, no matter what.
Right, exactly.
You want to be paid to be the man, you kind of have to be the man, and
Darnell Nurse ain't the man.
Not even close.
No, not even close. And look, that's the one thing that's going to hold the Oilers back.
His defense.
Is defense and getting a save. Look, I think Jack Campbell can be the guy, but you got to trust him and let him go through the process. But the defense in Edmonton is not the defense what it was in Toronto. And I'm not saying that defense was any better, but they could at least play defense. Like
Toronto could contain chances. They could keep the really high danger chances to a minimum. Whereas it just seems like Edmonton. I mean, they could play really almost flawless hockey for like half a game, and then all of a sudden it's like the wheels just fall off.
Boom, boom. Look, I know Vegas, the schedule to start, it's pretty easy. I mean, the Sharks are just really bad. I mean, look, tip my cap to Mackenzie Blackwood, 51 of 52 saves on the night. I mean, dude.
Had a rough night last night, but then again, it's Carolina.
Yeah, but still, I think he saw another 49 shots or something.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah,
the Sharks are just not a good team. They're just not. A good team.
They are last year's Ducks.
They're not good.
They are probably going to give up close to 40 shots a game. And Logan Couture is. They say he's close to coming back.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe. I have my doubts. There's a few players that, and you started seeing it already. It's like, player X is out with this kind of injury, and then all of a sudden it's like, player X is now out for 8 to 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Like the example of Ville Heinola was only thought to be like day to day with a slight ankle. Oh, it's broken. Oh.
Yeah.
Kirby Dach. Oh, it's just an MCL spread. Oh no, it's
ACL, no, he's
MCL,
out. No, he's
knee reconstruction.
Oh, we'll get to that in a minute. But Braden makes a great point. He did play out of his mind. I mean, they had at least 4 goals. But look, Mackenzie Blackwood for a long time.
We got a mini breaker here just because. Jim.
Yeah.
I know it's early, but Alex Ovechkin may be broken.
He didn't score again?
The Capitals are Murray Pam is somewhere dancing in Canada. 4-1 Ottawa now.
Wow.
And by my math, I mean, we're not even midway through the second period. Oh, by the way, Josh Norris came back and promptly scored 2 goals. I guess his shoulder's okay.
You know what? Good for Josh Norris. And before we get to that, Braden, again, look, Avs had at least 4 scoring chances. Anyone else on that team that night? Look, any other goalie that night, the Avs don't go to overtime and win the game and all that stuff. Mackenzie Blackwood, look, he had promise. He showed promise in the Devils organization. You thought he was going to be the man. You thought maybe he was going to be the future, and it just never worked out for whatever reason, injuries, COVID stuff, whatever. Doesn't matter. But he's in San Jose. He's going to be the starter. He's going to see a lot of rubber. Maybe he can get his stock up and show everybody if he can stay healthy. He can be a backup someplace.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, this is the classic show me deal.
Right.
You can't like I was saying even to Jim and a few people before the show. It's like you can't go by the amount of goals he gives up at this point.
Right.
Because if you look at that defense, and oh, by the way, San Jose's best defenseman last night might have been Graham Skeltor.
Yeah, might have been.
Just ask Tony DeAngelo. One of the best hits I've seen all season, delivered by a referee.
Yeah, that was a really good hit.
Although one thing I won't understand, How do you give the player 12 minutes and penalties for something you did?
Yeah, well, happens.
I mean, it impeded a
It's the
scoring
National
chance.
Hockey League.
It impeded. I loved. I know this was said in a joking manner, but I did love the fact that it did impede a scoring chance. It was kind of funny in that way. We couldn't laugh
Yeah,
about it then, but we can
we can
laugh
laugh
about it now.
about it now. We could definitely
Exactly.
laugh about it now. We can laugh about it now. Look, it happens. But going to the Ottawa Senators, check out new podcast up with Sean Simpson. We talk Senators. It's out iTunes, Spotify. It's up on YouTube, full press coverage. It's everywhere. Facebook, on Twitter, catch the replays. We're talking about Josh Norris and was it a mental thing? Was it a physical thing? I think it was a combination of both. But to see Norris back and contributing and scoring 2 goals right away. I mean, this guy, he's supposed to be the second line center. He's supposed to, you're supposed to have depth. Guys slot in where they're supposed to. Shane Pinto not being there. This Ottawa Senators team needed to get off to a hot start. They needed to play well. Look, going into Carolina on your first game is never easy. They hung as long as they could and reality set in, and then boom, done. Okay, and Korpisalo didn't give up a great goal. And he didn't give up great goals in game 4 either against the Oilers last year in the playoffs. But I digress. But if you look at it, right, the more the Senators win, the longer this thing with Pinto is going to get dragged out. And you hope it doesn't get dragged out to December because the Senators need to stockpile points until they go overseas. And I agree with Sean on the podcast. And I will say it here. I don't think this was the year for the Ottawa Senators to be going to Sweden with so much on the line for this organization.
It's true, but they are.
They are. And we know it took Colorado, it took Columbus, it took a bunch of the teams that went last year, it took some time to readjust to coming back here.
You figure it took 2 to 3 weeks minimum.
Easily 2 to 3 weeks.
Because remember, people forget that, they got a couple extra days off, but then their schedule was so crunched between that point and Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then from Thanksgiving to Christmas that, I mean, look, to be fair, Columbus was never
Columbus was never going to make the playoffs, but it's Colorado. I mean,
it really derailed Colorado for quite a while. I mean, the fact that Colorado came back and won that division after that, I think is part of the reason why it's the old adage they really did peak too soon because they knew they had to make such a push just to get. I mean, they were in third in the division, I think, with about 12 to 15 games left.
They were, and Dallas was holding on, and
Dallas was just above Minnesota, and Minnesota was just above Colorado.
Yeah, and then it went every place else, and then Colorado took in. And Colorado's that team, right? Colorado, you got Johansson. Drouin's playing well on the top lines. The guys are meshing. That it's interesting. The two Devils, Miles Wood and Thomas Tatar with Ross Colton seems to be actually working pretty well. Their defense is stout. I mean, look, that Devon Taves contract is a steal. Let's be honest. He could have got $9 million on the open market, and they got him for $7.25. Like,
you can't beat that. You can't beat that.
That's a steal. That's a steal. And when the cap does go up, look out. But you go back to Ottawa for a minute, right? And you talk about their additions, Tarasenko. You look at Kubalik, the way he's playing. I don't know how you can trade Matthew Joseph at this point. Just the way he's playing, that's a guy you want to win with. And I just don't think you can trade him. And again, Pierre Dorion, this is a mess he created. This is a mess he's going to have to figure out because you should have signed it because you can go 10% over the cap and then figure it out or bury a contract somewhere because Shane Pinto needed to be in there.
Yeah, and you figure by whatever time he does get in there, then he has to get in hockey shape.
Right.
That's another few weeks. You're in the middle of the regular season, so remember, being in the middle of the regular season, practices aren't like they are during training camp.
Nope.
You don't have practice every day. You have practice sometimes. You might have it 1 week, 3 times a week. And then in the next week, you might only have one practice because you can't practice because you're playing 3 games in 4 nights.
Right, exactly. It's going to be tough for him to catch up to everything. And you just hope this thing doesn't burn a relationship because Pinto is really important to their core and to their future moving forward. As much as, I mean, Tarasenko's been a great addition. Everybody wants to like, I've gone up and down that roster on Cap Friendly, and I'm like, everybody is complaining about the Hamonic deal, but that's a good deal. Like, I understand you're looking at Brandstrom, but okay, who they replacing him with, and he's settled in nicely. Pierre Dorion just created a mess that he needs to figure out a way out of because he went by it backwards.
He filled too many chairs and then forgot. Wait, I need
the most
more
important chair.
Oops. Oh, damn it.
So usually you fill all the chairs and then you figure it out.
Right. He filled almost all of them, but you forgot the one that you want the seat kind of in the first row or even the second row, and
right, and he didn't
a little out of place.
Hey, Braden, Miles Wood will come back to earth. Don't you worry.
It's the weed in Colorado.
It is. It really is. But look, Ottawa, important start. They got to take advantage of that division. They're one up on Tampa. Buffalo took care of Tampa. Look, Tampa's goaltending and Tampa's defense, is a problem. And the Tampa Bay Lightning are not the same team they were. Just look at all the guys that they lost. Go back to the third line. Go back to Palat, Johnson, Killorn, Gudas. I mean, the list goes on. A guy's not there anymore. McDonough on the back end. And look, again, if I have the Etch-a-Sketch, the teleprompter, or whatever you want, I can point in the first 3 games, John Cooper is not happy with his team defensively. He's talked about clearing up the middle of the ice. Well, again, against Buffalo, you've seen it against Detroit. I'm going to imagine when they play Florida and Toronto and teams like that, the middle of the ice is a problem. Guys are puck watching. Last night, Owen Power makes a great pass backdoor to Jeff Skinner. You got 4 guys watching the puck and not the guy on the backside of Johansson. And again, no goalie stopping that. And yeah, Jonas Johansson probably should stop that Dylan Cousins shot. But defensively, the Tampa Bay Lightning are not the same team that they were. And yeah, I understand they had Vasilevsky back there, and he might have covered some problems last year. But even last year, they were giving up way too much in the middle of the ice.
Yeah. And you can only stop that so many times.
Right. And look, Vasilevsky's played a lot. And, I know the Stamkos thing is weird. He hasn't been playing. They haven't had their, but it doesn't matter. That it doesn't matter what their team looks like. Ottawa has to win those games, and their starts have been good, and their first periods have been good. And as Sean Simpson said, their second periods have been good, and they are playing complete games. And this is where you have to rack up points. Yep. It doesn't matter what the team looks like. Oh well, Florida doesn't matter. Who cares? You have to take advantage of it because when those teams get healthy and become who they are, it's going to be a lot tougher to win those games.
Yeah. We saw that last year. Certain teams just, they got healthy and they got hot almost right away.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be interesting to see, what Tampa does between the pipes. Do they go after somebody? Look, the contract situation with Stamkos, look, they're waiting on the salary cap to go up. They're waiting to see what that number is going to be. It's probably going to go to the end of the year until they know what the number is. And FYI, they're not going to ask him to move his no trade clause to go someplace else because teams don't have room to take on Steven Stamkos.
Yeah, the contract still, even at a prorated amount, is still probably too much. And I don't think he's going to go.
I don't think he's going to go either. I mean, look, does he want to be signed? Yeah, he wants to be signed. He sees everybody else getting paid. But another issue for the Tampa Bay Lightning is what's in the cupboard, because there's nothing coming. Nothing coming. Remember how after they went to the conference final in 2011, we heard, you got to watch out for this guy Johnson. You got to watch out for Palat. Kucherov's coming. Point's coming. Like Hedman's already on team, but like the back end, their defense, and they make the trade for Sergachev. It's like, look out for these. There is nobody coming. Nobody.
It's like a dust bowl.
And good for Tyler Johnson for making a situation that was poor for him when he goes to Chicago. He's on a heater, back-to-back 2-goal games. He's playing well in Chicago. So glad to see him doing well over there. But again, McDonough, that's a huge loss. I think that's a bigger loss I said it last year. I think it's a bigger loss than people think it was.
Yeah, I mean, glue defensemen like that don't come along. They just don't come along in bunches like that anymore.
No.
And he still got it. I mean, for what it's worth, he just kind of has a way, and it works for him. I mean, granted, they still can't. I don't know what they're going to do in Nashville because they still can't kill a penalty to save their life. And legitimately,
did the Oilers just score again on the power play?
Yeah, free Stamkos, free Saros, please. Just make the trade, Nashville. Just make the trade because he's not happy there. It's clear he's not happy there. You saw it last night. At one point, he throws the stick in utter disgust. I mean, because the defensive breakdowns are ridiculous, and it's not just like fifth and sixth defensemen. I mean, it's Yossi. I mean, even McDonough last night. I mean, it's just the breakdowns are killing this guy. You could see it. And unfortunately, exactly. Goaltending is the most high-strung position out of all of them in hockey. And unfortunately, sometimes your goaltender does get a little bit overwhelmed.
Little bit.
And that's what happens. I mean, it's not the only place where this is going on. I mean,
No, but look, Nashville. I don't really have a lot of expectations for them this year. For me, they're an exciting team to watch because they're doing things differently this year. But
they can't score. People think the Islanders can't score.
Well, but Nashville was scoring. They were averaging 3 goals a game in their first 2 games.
That's the hilarious part, and yet their expected goals was 4-something.
Which doesn't make any sense, but
they're generating a plethora of opportunities. I mean, last night they had more high danger chances than Edmonton. They had more scoring chances than Edmonton. They had more shots than Edmonton. One goal on Jack Campbell at home.
Yeah, but Jack Campbell stepped up his game last night.
I understand that, but there were
I understand it's all Jack Campbell.
I understand
that too. 100% you have to finish. 100%. You have to finish. You have to finish 100%.
Like the Islanders last night. Oh, you had one job, and that was to beat Arizona by 2 goals. This isn't hard.
No, it's not. I mean, they put 32 shots. They had 32 shots on net against Arizona on Tuesday night. Had 1 goal. They gave up 14 shots.
Yeah.
I mean, at least Matt Barzal didn't go 19 games without a goal.
Thank you, God.
Remember that? It was funny. I was watching NHL Now before the game on Tuesday, and Matt Barzal was on. And he was talking about, I went 19 games, only had 19 points in 19 games, but they were all assists, no goals. And then when I got to Dallas, I got on a heater. I hope I don't go 19 games without a goal again. Boom, goal. But they had other but again, Carl Vejmelka is the reason why Arizona is going to be as competitive as they're going to be. You saw it against New Jersey on Friday night. New Jersey had chances to finish that game off after coming back from being down. 2-0. And they couldn't do it. Down 1-0, trading goals and everything, but I mean, they couldn't finish the job.
I would go out on a limb and say if he was on a better team, he's probably an all-star goalie.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
That limb is not far, by the way. That's a nice, easy short line.
Again, but the problem is for me, all-star nods don't mean the same.
No, they don't.
So
remember when that
doesn't matter. Oh yeah, it mattered because there was the best players going to the All-Star game. But I digress. So, But you talk about teams getting off to strong
Mhm.
starts. New Jersey's not one of them. They have not played particularly well, and there's a lot of expectations on this team. Put forth by themselves, by their fan base, by people around the team. But again, their starts are not good. You cannot give up the first goal in 3 straight games. You cannot have defensive zone turnovers, neutral zone turnovers. You cannot how should I put this nicely? You have to understand what's going on in the game, and you have to not have Brendan Smith on the
Mhm.
ice. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You just can't
I
do
mean,
it.
we were bound to find our Colin White at some point.
Yeah, but you know what? Look, let's be honest. Colin White was pretty good before he didn't have vision in one eye.
This is true.
So, to to be fair, to be
Poor
fair,
Cyclops.
yeah, to be fair. But again, you got to understand the situation in the game. You have to understand that you have more time than you need. And you have. Like, again, I've never played at that level, but it doesn't matter. It translates through all levels.
It's true. It's 100% true. I mean, look, and we've seen it already in Columbus with a certain player getting benched twice.
Yeah. Oh,
Not once,
yep.
twice in the first week.
Oh, yeah. We know who he is.
We're not saying it because we don't even have to.
Nope, because everybody knows who we're talking about.
That's the thing. And of course, obviously, with being so early in the season, I'm not going to lie, Jim. I am very happy that Chicago won the other night in Toronto.
Me, me too. I am. I'm very
And it's
happy. Good
look,
for the worm, Corey
look.
Perry.
This isn't like showing ill will towards Toronto or anything like that. And from a wagering standpoint, the plus 325 money line was nice. I'm not going to lie,
Oh, of course. Of
but
course.
it's really is like sort of the ducks flying south for the winter. Death taxes and certain team missing the playoffs. Uh, Toronto starts off kind of slowly in October. It's kind of how it is.
Money every time. Money every time. Look, they had a couple nice victories. Matthews back-to-back hat tricks. Look, that's crazy. Like no one's done that since Ovechkin 2017. 18. Oh, by the way, Caps won the Stanley Cup that year. We're not saying that's going to happen because you can point to other stats as well and make them how you want to do. But Austin Matthews' wrist looks fine. He looks like a better player. Their lines look better. Willie Nylander's looks like he's going to get a nice chunk of change in the offseason, whether it's from Toronto or someplace else. He's picking up where he left off. So, but I got to ask you this question because somebody asked this to me the other day, and somebody asked me, and I had to start to think about it. You think it was too early to give Lindy Ruff that extension?
Might have been a little early.
I'm not saying the man didn't deserve it. I'm not saying that, but they're not off to the great start again. They weren't off to a great start last year. Hit the road and everything changed. However, you know what the pressure is right now in New Jersey.
It's insane.
You know the general manager's under pressure too because he didn't upgrade the position
Yet.
But the guy that people expected to be there is not on the market anymore.
I will say this, and I said this even in the summer to you, and we were all kind of like, no, he's still going to be there for a while, and it's like it just kept seeming like, and I kept thinking, they're going after the wrong guy. The right guy might be a little bit south, and an area where catfish barbecue is pretty good.
UC Staros territory.
It's very possible. I mean, look, this is the one thing that it makes, and it's probably because it makes the most sense that it's the problem. Think about 2 years, $5 million a year. So
Right.
it's a reasonable contract. It's friendly.
It is friendly, especially when the Devils are going to get more cap space next year.
That's going to help. Nashville has a goalie in the wings. You know, I mean, for all his quirks, and believe me, Askarov has about
they
a
do.
million of them. But he's at least
Yep.
fun. He's very fun to watch and very entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And Nashville fans will like that. There might be one or two other goalies that surface along the way, but if you think that the Devils are going to necessarily stand pat 100% with what they have right now, it's not the case.
No, it's not going to be the case. And I know there's
Because
talk of a Akira Schmid and an extension.
I mean, that might happen, but unfortunately, you know, another goalie is probably going to. He's a bridge.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Vanacek's probably out the door if they make the trade.
Right. I mean, I'd still say he's a bridge anyway, or always was a bridge.
Oh, I still say he's a bridge. Yeah, me too. Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree.
And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that.
And everybody knows it's a business, and you know you have other things going on with some of the other teams too, obviously, that you know are under pressure.
So I know this is not just this is all across NHL, but I gotta say this. Look, and I'm trying not to Monday morning quarterback, and maybe there's a hockey term out there that we can bring in because I don't understand why we take Alexander Holtz off a line that's gelling in the preseason, and I know preseason results don't matter, but it seems to have thrown Timo Meier and Nico Hischier off.
The results speak for themselves.
You know, I know the top line's doing what the top line's doing. They've stayed together. But the second and third lines have not played particularly well. Now Holtz and Mercer and Hollop had a decent third period. The whole team did. Fourth line seems to be doing what the fourth line does, but
the middle six is kind of like
you have him play all preseason with those two guys, and then 2 days before opening night. Well, Mercer, I know what Mercer's done with those guys. You can't do that.
Look, this isn't the first time we've seen this, and this isn't going to be the last time we've seen it, because we've seen it. We've seen it several times, like with other teams, even this season, where the same thing has kind of happened late in training camp. Like, we'll just tinker with this a little, and
let it ride.
You see it even in Washington, and it's like, look, hold on a second here. Through about 7 2/3, almost 8 periods, for all intents and purposes. And Ovechkin has what? 4 or 5 shots? He has 5 shots. He has 5 shots on goal.
Team is old. Not good. Darcy Kuemper can't stop a beach ball.
Well,
again, Colorado won despite Kuemper, not because of.
Well,
Kuemper.
Here's the thing, though. His first start, he was great. He was brilliant. But
what, against Calgary?
He didn't play against Calgary. He came in for mop up. He came in I might have came in for mop up duty. That was about it. But here's the thing. So, you know, he had the shutout, or he gave up 1 goal. We'll argue about that goal that he gave up because it really wasn't it. But
right.
But here's the thing. So, by the way, it's now 5-1 Ottawa.
Yeah.
Claude, more goals than Giroux has been taken off the board. Early this year too, by the way. Last year that took a little while. Here's the thing. Alex Ovechkin can be a puck distributor, but he shouldn't have to be the puck distributor.
Well, that's because Nicholas Backstrom is just not the same player anymore.
Let's call this for what it is. And I think even Tariq El-Bashir kind of hinted at this late last year. He's done.
He is done. He's
done.
Look, you could put him with Ovechkin as much as you want, but
He's done.
he's done as a player.
And I think the coaching staff is now seeing this because maybe the old telemetry here on the line deployments are off, but this says he's played less than 9 minutes through just about 2 periods. So if you even like add in like the last 4 minutes of the second period, so say he plays 11 maybe, he's going to play
Yeah.
what 15, 16 minutes a night and just be an
He
absolute.
can't be playing 50.
And he can't even do that.
No, he can't play 15, 16 minutes a night anymore. He's just not the same player that he was. I'm sorry, but look, it's all well and good that he came back. He's just not the same guy.
And this is
why teams may not want to invest that much in Patrick Kane.
There's a big freaking difference between what you're doing skating by yourself and playing at game speed.
Oh, it's 100%. Now, to be fair, Kane is younger, but only by a few years.
Yeah, I mean this is kind of the thing. Remember, where we were talking about Landeskog with the whole knee transplant.
Yeah,
and how Mark
Mark
Mathot had it, but he was a few years older, and how poorly it went for him, and he's just getting back to a sort of normal life. Never mind doing anything strenuous.
Right.
I think Murray said it took him 4 years. It was like an insanely high number for what we think of as a normal recovery time for anything.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
And mind you, I mean, how do you put this gently? He can't do things an athlete would do, or even close. And I can't imagine what that's like for an elite level athlete in any sport to go from, hey, I was not like super fast, but I could play a professional sport, and now it's like I can barely keep up with my son.
Right, exactly. Like that's tough. Like, but again, at least he's back to normal life. So we're gonna see. Like, I don't expect Landeskog to come back this year. I really don't. And if he does, good for him.
They say no right now.
Yeah. Well, I've talked to some people too that said no, he's not coming back this season, even if they make the playoffs. But somebody's gonna say, "Oh, did you see what he did?" Like all this stuff. He starts skating again. There's like, "Oh, there's gonna be no. There's no chance he's coming back this year. He's not playing this year. He wasn't playing last year. Like Colorado will need to address the second line center position again because that's what they need to do. Patrick Kane, who knows where he goes, right? He could go to Buffalo. He could go to Detroit's off to a great start. They're playing well. The Brinket's been a perfect fit because he wanted to go there. Larkin looks like he's got his mojo back again. The goaltending looks a lot better than it was. And it takes guys time to settle in. Like Matthew Tkachuk is the anomaly, right? He's the outlier, the exception to the rule. When you get traded or you go to a new team, it takes a while for you to get adjusted. Sometimes it does take a year.
Yeah. Matthew Tkachuk, just the ultimate exception. I mean, he caught fire early. He caught fire often. And, I mean, like the $6 million fireman, literally, he's walking through the shadows with the flames, like, going through. It was just perfect timing. And then the playoffs came, and then the legend just grew from there. It snowballed into something that just, okay, maybe it was kind of stupid to try and even think about playing, basically being in a hockey straitjacket. But
I mean, yeah, that game was, I mean, like that's courageous to play through that. And he obviously couldn't suit up for game 5. It was
because if that had happened, I would have to start quoting Gung Ho and saying, "You're so stupid."
But he wasn't that effective in game 4, and you could see it.
No. I mean, look at how he was trying to fight. It was like, yeah.
And even when he tried to tie the game late in the game, he couldn't elevate the puck because
there was nothing there.
There was nothing there. So I mean, look, what he did was the exception. He was the anomaly. Now the more the rule is it takes time to adjust, and we're going to see that. And like New Jersey's adjusting to the expectations of what's going on. They got to get off to a better start, and they got to beat teams that they're supposed to beat. Let's be honest. That's what they have to do. Like, you
to
left
be
a point on
fair,
it.
they're
You
not.
left a point on the
but they're-
table
Yeah,
against
Arizona
Arizona.
was a problem. I'll argue Florida wasn't because they're like 5-23 against Sergei Bobrovsky. I mean, you're bad.
Yeah, I saw the stat. I think Bobrovsky's like 26 and like 5
Yeah,
against
it's now
New Jersey.
26-5, but it's the idea of like just like over more. I think it was like they kind of condensed it a little. I'm like, wait a minute, I know that number's higher for some reason, but I mean,
Right.
I still say this is where you would have needed a guy like Miles Wood. Hey, Miles, you can't stop anyway. Just run into Bobrovsky. And rarely do we advocate such things, but I mean, when a team when a goalie has your number that badly, yeah. You
might want to do something.
You kind of know. And look, all right, it's a great song. And teams, God, how many teams have like insane futility streaks against other teams? I mean, we remember the 25-game one Calgary had against Anaheim of all teams in Anaheim.
Oh, they couldn't win in Anaheim to save their life.
It didn't matter how bad Anaheim was. And comically, look, and again, what happened this week, Jim? It happened again. They blew another 2-goal lead. All I heard all preseason was this isn't going to happen early, and I'm like, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And I was like, you know what? I have the balls to bet on it.
Dude, it so happened. It happened twice
and
now. They blew a third period lead against Pittsburgh, which they were dominating, and then they blew the game against Washington, which they should have won. Like, I'm sorry, but those are games you need to win if you expect to be in the playoffs. Like, again, it's early, but trends. You look at trends, you see what's going on. Right?
Look at how many points teams are losing now and how it affects them later.
You can't lose points now. You really can't. Like, you really can't lose points. Like, we're going to see what Boston's made of when they go on this road trip. Look, the Rangers, they finally listened to the show and said, hey, we're going to put Lafreniere where he belongs. And he's cooking.
Yeah, but they're boring now.
Well, hey, wait a minute. So I heard this the other night in the locker room. Okay, wait a minute.
We have to play boring hockey. That was one of the end quotes that I heard. It was pretty funny.
I heard this too. It's like, we won, but we played boring hockey. I'm like, so? They're like, but it's not exciting. I said, did you win? Yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, shut up. Yeah, but we're playing this 1-3-1 neutral zone trap. Said it's a modern day version of the trap, and you take advantage of turnovers, right? They're like, yeah. I said, well, look at Vegas, look at Tampa, look at St. Louis, look at Washington, look at Pitt, look at the teams that won the cup. They all played a version of it. Oh, I said, did you want to come to my room and see the 3 Stanley Cup banners that are hanging on my wall? Like,
it's the reality.
Do you want to go? Do you want to talk to the Canadians in the 70s who started this stuff? It's the reality of the situation. It's not, the Rangers aren't doing what the Islanders are doing. They're in the middle of going way, like the Oilers, let's just run and gun and be like Pittsburgh and let's outscore our problems. But they're in the middle where it's a nice balance of offense and defense, and that's what wins. What did we say last year in the final? Teeing up every game. If Vegas scored 3.5 goals a game, they were going to win, right? Okay. If they scored under that, they were going to lose.
It was very cut and dry.
But they still played defense.
Oh yeah, that thing.
That thing, right? That thing. And I understand, it's not sexy, it's not pretty. That's not Peter Laviolette's system.
It's true.
But he's putting the players in the right position to succeed. And boy, does Blake Wheeler look like he's 37.
Oh, you look a little slow. Wait. Slow.
Oh, I would not be surprised to see a certain Brendan Hoffman up later on in the year. I'm not saying he's coming up.
I'll be truthful. If it wasn't the name Blake Wheeler, Upman would be up already.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
It just
Because he can
it
put the
just has
puck
to
in
be
the
said.
net. Right, exactly. And I think he'd be a good piece on that line
I thought he looked
with Cooley.
excellent in the preseason. I really did.
I thought he looked excellent. Dude, I watched all the games he was in. I thought he looked excellent. But look, again, it's early. Like you look at little things, right? But again, the things that are concerning are stuff in Tampa. You look at things in Florida. Yeah, they got the win, but they're still missing a lot of players. Can they survive and hang on? Again, rookie goalies in or younger goalies in Buffalo. We're seeing that. Buffalo likes to run and gun a little bit too much. You could see when they play better defensive teams, they get into trouble. Washington is just not good. You go to the West, yeah, okay. Chicago's 2-2. Okay, big deal. Look, did the NHL plan it any better for this kid for Bedard? Did the media to start? Imagine if they did that with
Holy
McDavid.
crap! Wouldn't that be something?
Right, right. I mean, you can't look at the standings right now and be like, oh well, Vancouver's got 4 points. Yeah, okay, big deal. I mean, do I expect Vancouver to be better? Yeah, but I expect the Oilers to be in second place too. So I mean, like,
just hang tight, people. It's going to change quite a bit.
it's gonna hang tight. And by the way, the new NHL app stinks.
Oh,
So,
you mean the old boss and the new boss the same as the old boss?
yeah, it stinks. The old app was a lot better.
Yeah, yeah. The old app, not the hybrid.
Yeah, but even the one before the upgrade that they just did was a lot more user friendly.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I mean, like, look, and then like you look at, we're gonna see what happens with Pinto in Ottawa. We're gonna see if he comes in. We're gonna see with Garland and in Vancouver, and give credit to a lot of the players that names are out there. They're playing well. Garland stepped up his game. Jim Rutherford just doesn't want him there, just cap purposes, and I get it. They're willing to eat 30%, so we'll see what happens there.
Does he finally go east?
I think he goes east. Maybe you never know. You never know where he goes, but I think he might.
There's a few teams on the East Coast that would like his services. Whether they can afford him or not is a different question. But maybe with this, with the new carrot being dangled, and a little creative salary cap gymnastics.
And by the way, bank and don't want to we never like to throw that in the universe. And we wish Freddie Anderson all the best. Like we really do. I mean, that was just weird what happened last night. But it was a lock that one of those goalies was getting hurt this year.
Somebody's going to do it. And this is where I've said it, even sports gambling is going to lose its way. Somebody's going to start putting betting odds on injuries that happen.
I hope they don't. I really
but
hope they don't.
It's like you have this like weird demented feeling like how far do you but all right. The bottom line is this, unfortunately, and this is to be all good and serious and be thankful that what happened to Freddie Anderson last night was not worse. He's okay, thankfully.
Right. Thankfully,
I mean,
okay.
as of this moment, there are no concussion symptoms and don't appear like there will be because, again, as we've found out many times in many ways, sometimes it could be 24, 48, 72 hours or more. But
he got hit right in the noggin.
Yeah, I mean, that was square. Man. That if you didn't watch the replay last night, do yourself a favor and get this. Don't bother. He's fine.
Don't bother. He's fine, but they did bring Kochetkov up. So
they can get, but they can afford to put him on the IR for like a week. Let him clear his head. Relax in his nice palatial home, and let him rest. Because Carolina has this thing called goaltending. They just have a really bad thing where they don't have an ECHL affiliate.
No, or AHL affiliate.
Yeah, worse. Yeah.
Even worse. But hey, look, Braden's right. It's funny that, Pittsburgh can't beat
That
Chicago.
was quite a
It's
meltdown.
just hysterical. It's so ironic that they can't do it. But hey, look, we can do a 30 for 30 on that game alone, which hopefully they will. And look, Pittsburgh's defense and goaltending is coming back to earth, like most expected it to.
Yeah. By the way, they don't play well
because
on the road either.
No, they don't. They don't play well on the road, but their defense is not what it was. Their goaltending is a question mark. And again, they're a borderline playoff team. And I expect New Jersey to turn some things around. I expect other teams to turn things around. Again, it's 3 games. We want to overreact because we haven't had hockey in 5 months. Pump the brakes a little bit, okay? Just pump the brakes. The teams we know that are going to be good are going to be good. The teams that we know are going to be bad are going to be bad, and there's going to be some surprises along the way.
Wait, that's Washington's line.
Yeah. Well, but they're the 2 oldest teams in the league.
Yeah, they
right
are.
now.
They are first and second by a decent margin.
So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Look, New Jersey's just got to take care of business, get out to better starts, play better. Let's see. Hope some things can come along because, you have some winnable games coming up. Ottawa's doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, they're banking points.
Everybody expected them to just get off to a strong start, and they needed to, right? So, hey, there's a lot of hockey left. And again, like I said, way too early for power rankings. You want to give me your top 5 teams now. It's 3 games. Lists are going to change. It doesn't matter.
Halloween, ladies and gentlemen. Get back to me.
Halloween, we can have a better discussion about top 5 teams, bottom 5 teams. Look, I know who the bottom 5 teams are going to be. And San Jose is going to be in there. Columbus is going to be there. Anaheim's going to be there. Arizona should be there. Like, look, we know, okay? There's some road trips coming up. And somebody said the Rangers are on the road for the next 10 days. I didn't know the circus was back in town, but hey, okay.
Yeah, there's a few East Coast teams definitely going west. Obviously, Boston.
Right. So Boston's one of them. The Rangers, right? Another.
Islanders go too, because they're
going. Yeah.
It's funny. These 3 teams are actually kind of rotating who they play against. It's really funny to watch.
And then I think Toronto's on the road. They're heading
Toronto
out.
Goes not quite full west.
South,
they go south first.
Yeah, and then they go west. It's crazy. The schedule maker, I don't know what the schedule maker was doing, but
I'm not against it though. It's kind of fun.
No. No, the Islanders are close by. Their furthest game right now in
maybe it's
October
November. Maybe it's November that they go out.
I think it's November. I think it's November they go out and
no.
And, let's see. Yeah, no, middle of November.
Yeah.
Edmonton, Vancouver, Seattle, Calgary,
I knew there was like I always call it the Northwest Territories road trip because it kind of
or their infamous Devil's Thanksgiving road trip.
You know what? I actually missed that, and the only reason is because I could go when I lived out west. I took the 4.5 hour drive to Phoenix. Perfect.
Well, I mean, New Jersey makes their trip through Central Midwest anyway. They got Minnesota, St. Louis,
Zach
Chicago,
Parise Trail of Tears,
Colorado, boom, and then they don't have that. They don't. They're home this year, but then their Northwest Territories trip is at the beginning of December. Vancouver, Seattle, Calgary, Edmonton, back home. So it's going to be interesting. Look, there's a lot of hockey left. We're going to be here with you along the way, every step of the way. Full Press Hockey's got a lot of things going on up there. Russ Cohen's got a new article up there about his Calder candidates.
Yep.
We're going to have some betting stuff coming up. Full Press Bets got some hockey stuff coming up.
Make some cash. We're just putting it.
Make some cash, baby.
Straight cash money.
Cash is king. But we're going to be with you all along the way. The Full Press NHL podcast got some great guests lined up. A lot of good things happening here. Full Press Hockey. But Chris, always a pleasure to do the Full Press Hockey Weekly show with you. Ian behind the scenes. Always a pleasure. All the Appreciate the comments, the viewers. Braden's here for more betting.
Absolutely.
I love it. That's even better.
We will tee it up.
Guys, we're going to tee it up for you, but this has been another edition of the Full Press Hockey Weekly Show. I've been your host, Jim Berenger, the voice of Full Press Hockey, alongside NWO members Chris Wassell, Ian Glennon behind the scenes. Get it at Full Press NHL on Twitter. Get it, Full Press Coverage YouTube, Full Press Coverage Facebook, Full Press Hockey on Facebook, fullpresshockey.com. Get it iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Guys, enjoy the games here on Wednesday and into a busy Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. We'll be back again real soon. Take care.
Oof.